Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network, for the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews. Press 1. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. From the Popcorn Talk Network and producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and Phil Svitek, this is iTalk Movies. Long-form interviews with leading members of the film industry. And now, your host of iTalk Movies.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Welcome to iTalk Movies. I'm your host, Ben Bateman. I'm here talking to a visionary director. Don't laugh. Wasn't done. Mr. Gaspar Noé. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You have a movie opening tonight in Los Angeles. You have a premiere tonight.
Yeah, it's a movie called Love.
Yeah.
It's in 3D.
I just watched it. I didn't get to watch it in 3D, unfortunately. And it has some provocative scenes to watch in 3D, would you say?
Yeah, there's a pop-out scene.
Yeah. So this is a film that there's a lot of talk right now about this movie because it does have some graphic love scenes in the film, quite a few of them.
Yeah.
What was your decision when you had this movie in mind, from the very beginning? Did you get the vision you wanted when you made it, or did it change as it developed?
At the very beginning, I wanted to do a simple movie in France that I could shoot in French with a very low budget, because my very first movie was called I Stand Alone, and it was a critical success but not a commercial success. So before getting into this big project that I had called Enter the Void, I said, well, maybe I should write something easy to finance and to do. And I thought there were no movies around that portrayed love or love addiction as I knew it and as my friends, whether they were boys or girls, knew it. So I wrote this very relatable story about a young couple. He's a film student, she's a young painter. They meet each other, they fall madly in love, and it's all about the rise and failure of their couple. And it's all seen from a present time once the story is over, so it's very melancholic because it's also about the loss of love. And I wanted to portray it in a very natural way, containing also whatever was carnal or tactile in their relationship. It's not inspired by other movies, it's mostly inspired by life. And I proposed it at the time to Vincent Cassel and Monica Bellucci, and kind of say yes, we got the money by dropping their names to producers.
Right.
And then when they read the short treatment, they decided not to do it, but still we had the money, and we did this other movie called Irréversible. Then I did One Day Enter the Void, and after doing Enter the Void, I said, oh, maybe I should go back to that project and do it. Since then, the cinema has changed a little bit, and now 3D movies are better than before. So before we got into the production of the movie, me and the financier said, oh, maybe we should try to do it in 3D. Now with the DCPs that replace the positive films that were playing in the theater, it's much easier to do a good 3D movie. So, and also everything that happened on the internet these last years made the relationship of people to nudity very different. So right. Nowadays no one is shocked of seeing a couple naked on screen.
A couple naked on screen. I think it's a little bit of an understatement. There's always a little more than a couple naked on screen. But something I was wondering about. So you mentioned addicted to love.
Yeah.
Your main character in this film is sort of addicted to love. That seems to sort of be his drive.
The two of them are like love junkies.
So
some people say, I'm madly in love with this girl, and once they break up, they say, but I think I'm madly in love of falling in love.
Right.
There is something chemical that happens in your brain when you're in love with someone that it's almost like a drug. You release a lot of serotonin, endorphins.
He's a sad character. He's a tragic character. There's a scene at the end of the film where he's just crying and in the bathtub, and I was touched by that moment. But more than that, even before, I think one of the subplots that I really got in this movie was this idea that he has or I think this is something that comes up in life a lot, where you sort of are having to let someone go. It's his ex-girlfriend, and he's worried about her, and he wants to reach back out and try to take care of something, but it's not his life anymore. It's the past.
Yeah.
And I think was that intentional? Was that the story you wanted to tell? It's the idea of not being able to let it go.
I wanted to do melodrama or drama about someone who lost the person he cared the most about, and I had to portray what happens in a couple, how ecstatic falling in love or sharing love story, sharing a lifetime project is, when then everything falls down, and and that joyful, that ecstasy, no, that joy, that ecstasy disappears. And once again, it's a very relatable story, and I think most of the audience will recognize themselves in one situation or another.
Definitely, I was telling you before we were on camera here. Obviously, it's a story. It's a kind of a classic story. I mean, in the sense that it's a couple, and there's some infidelity involved, and there's heartbreak and all that. But obviously, there's quite a few graphic scenes in the film, which is what everybody seems to want to focus on when you read about this movie. That's the thing that it's talked about for, especially because it's in 3D. If you were to drastically edit this film and you were to make it suitable for a PG-13 audience in the United States, how do you think the film would play? How do you think the story would play?
I would then do another subject. I don't think that this movie would not work, because what I like in the movie is that it's shown as in life. If you censor yourself when you do a movie, you're just like kind of avoiding the subject. I would be making another commercial movie, as you've seen many.
Right.
I'm always surprised that in the Western society, the image of love, of carnal love, is still so problematic. You never see any male nudity in any Hollywood movie.
Unless it's for effective comedy or something.
Yeah, but there is nothing, or just one particular joke. But the male nudity should be shown in a way as natural as a horse running or some people playing sports.
It's interesting. There's a number of directors who have sort of just developed like where the progression of this has all gone. I can think back to seeing Mulholland Drive in 2001, and there's a pretty graphic scene in that film. And then I can think of David Cronenberg when he made History of Violence, and there's some pretty graphic stuff in that. Vincent Gallo when he made The Brown Bunny with Chloe Savini, that was obviously a big one. This just takes it even a little further. I mean, do you think that this movie could have been made in 2001? Do you think there's any chance that the world would have accepted it? Or do you think it's really a function of where we are now?
Yes, I would say that the good thing about, for example, the American way of distributing movies, you can ask for a rating, or you can just go unrated. Right. And all the art theaters or the independent film theaters, they will take the movie if they like it without rating. In Europe, there's always like a National Center for Cinema or a board of censorship, whatever, in England, that decides if the movie is okay for people who are under 18, under 16, under 13. Here it's a bit different. And also the truth is that all these ratings are anachronic now that all these movies are on internet. 2 months later,
doesn't matter,
and all the kids just download them for free.
Anybody can watch anything. A lot of these directors, I mean, you've been described in some of the stuff I was reading about you as a punk rock auteur. That's like I saw that, I can't remember, in some article I was reading, somebody described you this way in their intro. You make the movies you want to make, it seems like. And you think about some of these guys who are doing huge blockbusters now and where they started. So Christopher Nolan making Memento and following when he started, or maybe David Fincher even starting in just music videos, things like that. David Cronenberg, to some degree, I think it fits that bill. Would you ever want to do a movie like that? Would you ever want to do something huge, a giant blockbuster, Avatar, Inception, something like that?
I don't know if I would want to do those two movies you just talked about.
Yeah.
But maybe, I would rather do Titanic, or my favorite movie ever is 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is a big studio movie.
Would you want to do a gigantic sci-fi epic like that? Something just way out in space, all kinds of crazy ideas, 3 hours long, the whole deal? Yeah,
but you spend so much time doing visual effects on one of the science fiction movies. I even saw the making of Gravity to understand how they did all those visual effects and the 3D effects. And those movies take you 3 years, and I could enjoy it, but I'd rather do movies that talk about something that's closer to me in life.
When you start, you've made you made Carne in 1991, right? As a short. And then, as you said, I Stand Alone in 98, Irreversible in 2002, Into the Void in 2009, and then we have this film. So I did see you had a lot of other credits listed on IMDb between those films. Those are sort of like the benchmark movies for you. What are all the other credits? Is that music video stuff, shorts?
Yeah, I did some music videos, some shorts. But mostly, I refuse almost every project that is proposed to me that I didn't write. No, that I always receive books, scripts, and I know that I want to focus on my essential needs, and maybe it's a perversion, but I like directing stories that I wrote.
There's some controversy right now. Just a few hours ago, there's a whole story going on right now with Kanye West because there's an accusation that he, in one of his new music videos, has sort of lifted the visual style of the credits of one of your films, and they look very similar. I saw a video on the internet of them side to side. Are you aware of this?
Yeah, I saw it. It's very similar. Yeah.
How do you feel about
he
it?
did not direct the video with someone else.
No, and the other guy's name, Hype Williams or something?
I met Kanye West once and said,
Yeah.
"Hey, did you really pay the director
Yeah.
to copy my credits?" And he was, you have to blame the director, not the singer.
Oh, you asked him?
Yeah.
What did he say?
I don't know.
You can't. Okay.
But, well, whatever. It's not. I would say it all depends on the time you have to modify an idea. All directors are inspired by other person's movies or paintings or photos, but sometimes when you're out of time and you say, well, I want to do something similar to this, and you have to deliver the print in 3 days, you ask your assistants to prepare the thing, and if you're not very careful, the people will just do a copy and paste, and whatever. In life, you're inspired by what you like, and sometimes you want to make better.
Right.
Maybe in my case, I had enjoyed much more watching that video.
Right.
If it had been much different.
Interesting. So you talk about the things that inspire you and the people you try to inspire from.
No, one thing is you're not, when you feel you're copied, it's not a problem. If your work has already been released, it's out there, so it belongs to the community, and people can copy whatever they want because it's out there. You're really afraid, for example, when you're writing a script and it's going from hand to hand in the production companies, that someone will steal an idea before you completed your project. So if someone comes with a similar movie before yours that was inspired by the script that was around, that's really scary.
That's a problem, yeah. I mean, I've heard people say before, it's not who came up with the idea, it's who becomes successful with the idea. That's what people like to say. And I think to some degree, if Kanye West, one of the biggest artists in the world, is inspired by something you've done and is using it in a music video, to some degree that has to be flattery, a little bit, if you're seeing it.
It's funny. It's funny to know that he saw the movie, but I don't know if it's, I don't know if it was his will or the director's will or someone else. I don't know, but whatever.
Right.
But I think I can say that, for example, 2001 was a huge inspiration for me. I saw that movie 50 times, and there are some points in Enter the Void that remind you of 2001. Maybe I made it in a way that is less evident, but I know where all my references are. And also, when you really like someone's work, for example, I love John Carpenter's movies, and in my last movie, I wanted to have a part of John Carpenter. So finally, we bought him the rights of music to put it on my movie. So it's like an homage to John Carpenter to ask him for the music and put it in, and it really works.
You mentioned 2001: Space Odyssey, John Carpenter. The film Boogie Nights, one of my favorite movies ever made. You've seen Boogie Nights?
Yeah.
And it's this movie in particular because there's a whole sequence of Boogie Nights where they're talking about, I really want to make a real movie. I want these love scenes to be passionate in the movie. I want the plot around it to matter. And obviously that movie's sort of tongue-in-cheek and it's funny. And there's that sequence where it's a real movie, Jack. He made a real movie. I couldn't help but think about that when I was watching this movie today, because there's nothing about what I was watching that I felt like was taking advantage of the material. I mean, it was graphic, don't get me wrong, but it's not something I haven't seen before. So, I don't know, do you have a favorite movie you've done?
No, I like the 4 movies I've done. I haven't rewatched the older ones.
Never?
No, the other day I was not teaching but doing a master class in a film school in New York, and they were showing excerpts of my previous movies, and I just noticed while watching those short excerpts that I hadn't watched my previous movies since I completed them.
Yeah.
And did I really write that? Did I really shoot that? Yeah. But I know that each time I completed a feature film, I was happy and proud of the work I had done.
When you think about movies in the last 4 or 5 years that you've watched that really blew your mind, anything come to mind that's you saw it and you were just like, oh my god, I need to do that. I need to be able to do something that good.
I was very impressed technically speaking, by the images of gravity, I did not understand how the hell they had done those images.
Yeah.
And lately I was very impressed by a movie that was playing in Cannes this year that I think hasn't been released yet in the States. It's called The Son of Saul, and it's a movie about the concentration camps shot in Hungary.
Wow. So those are totally different. Yeah, interesting. So you watch a lot of movies?
I try to, but I would say maybe I see one movie a week.
One movie a week?
When I was a kid or a teenager, I could watch 1 or 2 movies a day.
Yeah, I used to be the same way. I feel like I don't have as much time anymore. I wish I could watch more movies.
Well, maybe you're less fascinated by cinema.
I don't know. I love movies.
You've seen all the classics. You've seen all the strong movies around. And now, for example, I would say with age, you enjoy less and less the horror movies.
The horrible movies or the horror movies?
Horror movies.
Yeah, interesting.
I could watch like things like I don't know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre a few times in a row when I was 18.
Yeah.
Nowadays I said, I don't. It doesn't relate to my life or to my needs.
The ones I love are like the cheeseball action movies, The Rock and Point Break and Con Air. That's like the stuff that I'll watch. I'll still watch that over and over again. So there's a good solid between 25 and 40 minutes of graphic love scenes in this movie, right?
Yeah.
There's like quite a bit of it. So when you were thinking about shooting those scenes and the way you were going to feature them,
they're graphic. That doesn't mean they're real. No, when you make a movie, it's just like a director is telling a story and he's making all kind of tricks. You're a magician,
right?
Trying to make something that's believable. So you pull a rabbit out of the hat. That doesn't mean the rabbit is alive. Or that doesn't mean the hat is a real hat. When you cut a woman in two on stage, that doesn't mean she died. But at the end, what I really wanted is that the movie would seem like totally uncensored.
Would seem real. Logistically, what was it like coming up with a cast for that? I mean, obviously, it's a tall order when you're saying that to the people that you're looking at. This is what you're going to have to do to some degree, and I'm sure I'm not going to ask you specifics on how you did it, but I mean, that conversation has to have been pretty specific, no?
I guess it's also a question of intelligence, of trust, of confidence, and if you end up finding people who are very intelligent, who know they're making a serious movie that relates to a universal story, and that maybe it's going to be shown in competition in Cannes, maybe out of competition, but you feel safer. Also, what made all the actors involved in the movie feel safer is that they had seen my previous movies and that they liked it. They liked them a lot, so they were happy to be participating in this project. And we did the whole movie in the most friendly way, with a lot of trust. And yes, of course there were limits. Each person had a limit, but we said, how can we deal with those limits and make it look as life is with
those scenes in particular. Obviously, the words that is thrown around with this movie, the criticism is the word pornography, which I don't feel this movie is, and I can tell you don't feel that, obviously.
When I kiss a girl, it's not pornography. I guess it's the same one. No, why would things that are all natural in real life would be called as a subgenre in which the sex can be playful, sex can be lovingful, sex can also be boring, but there's some kind of representation of sex that you find in adult videos that mostly nowadays are only on the net, and that all kids can have access to. But what's rare is that in life, when you meet a girl and you madly love that girl, you get excited, you invite her for dinner, then you have drinks and you go dancing, then you finally, after 1 year of waiting, you finally kiss her, you have sex with her, and it's the best and most joyful thing you could think of, and you wake up in the morning and it's all a continuity of normal moments that are happy moments, and the carnal moment, or the after the hugging, after kissing, when it happened, it's all pretty. It's maybe better than life itself, and so it's that those moments are rarely represented in cinema, so that's what I want to represent. It's not just sex, it's love in all its aspects, and they can also contain carnal moments.
Well, it was shot tastefully. It doesn't feel like you're watching pornography. My question was going to be, when you were thinking of that,
and also that genre you're talking about is a genre that is meant to arouse people in a very immediate way. Usually those videos don't tell a story. Usually in those videos, the women would never get pregnant. Even the word.
Yeah, it would never
that
be.
doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And even in those videos, you never see people kissing. And in those videos, whether they're well done or badly done, the characters are
They're not
just
real
people.
characters.
They're not. They're bodybuilders or firemen with girls who are all shaven with that don't look like people you see in everyday life.
So my question was going to be, when you were shooting these scenes and you were thinking about, obviously you had to know there was going to be controversy associated with the film. Did you actually use pornography as reference of what not to do? Like this is.
I didn't have any reference in mind, like something to copy or something to avoid. No, I was just trying to do something that reminded me of what life is in its most essential and natural aspect.
Is the film autobiographical for you at all?
I would say the world he portrays is a world I know. It's a mix of stories that my best friends told me, whether they were men or girls. There are things that I relate to more than others. There are things that, because they did not happen to me, I still enjoy the idea that, for example, the main character's name is Murphy, which is my mother's name. So I would say it would be like the story of a little brother who has been through similar experiences than the ones I've been through and my friends have been through.
There is a moment where in a film, it's a wink at the audience where Murphy is talking about making a film, the sentimentality and the beauty of sex. And I thought that was funny hearing him say that, because I assumed that must have meant that for you it was in some way autobiographical, because it's the film you wanted to make and you made that film.
But I would say in a way he's not only a failed boyfriend, because finally his story falls into pieces, but also he's a failed filmmaker. Yeah. Because he's always talking about making movies, about what he's going to do, about Kubrick, etc. And then when you see his present time, you think that because he had a baby, he finally stopped fighting for his ideals.
Do you have any children, speaking of which? No children?
No.
Would you name your child Gaspar, like he does?
Gaspar 2, no, I don't think I'll call him Gaspar 2. No.
Gaspar the second?
No, Apollo or something.
Apollo?
Apollo 11.
Are you a fan of Rocky? Or no, that's a reference to...
to the rocket.
Okay, fair enough. I was hoping you were going to go with Apollo Creed.
It's a joke, and I never thought of the names I would put to a baby if you ever had one.
You never thought of it?
No.
Oh, they talk about it in the movie a lot. Yeah. Interesting. Do you have any projects in the works? What's next for you?
I wouldn't mind doing one day a documentary, but I haven't found the subject yet. But to do a documentary with all the tools of a big movie, like I wouldn't mind doing it in CinemaScope, in 3D, with a sensor system and lots of music.
3D documentary.
Like just film real life and make it look like bigger than a big Hollywood movie.
You know, one other thing that came to mind I was thinking about, I made note of when I was watching the movie, is that there's this electric guitar that's playing in some of those love scenes. And I was thinking, one of the cliche things that gets made fun of in old pornography is the cheesy music. It's something that everybody always makes fun of. Oh, that music sounds like it's part of a porno. And as I was watching the movie, I was thinking, I was like, man, you have to be so careful, because this is great electric guitar. I was like, this is really good music, but like it could so easily, with just a little bit of a twist, be like, this is just like a cheesy porno scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, but that music is so perfect.
It's intentional.
It's an impro done by the guitarist player of Funkadelic, and he played it once. He was maybe very stoned when he played it. Yeah. And the result is amazing. It's like it
was great. It was one of the things I liked the most about it.
One-time piece.
There's a lot of stuff with the intersection of sort of like art, drug use, sex, partying, all the stuff in this movie. They all sort of seem to meet.
That's what I know.
That's what you know.
That's what I know. Actually, no, there are things that I was doing when I was 20, 25, like when you party, and at least in Paris, there's always a guy who's carrying something that proposes to you, but I've never been a drug addict of anything, but that's a generation thing.
Interesting. I didn't even really think about the idea that she gets pregnant and that ends up being sort of like he loses his dream. That wasn't what I was paying attention to in the movie, but is that for you, that was a big part of it?
Actually, there's one character that seems to be stronger than the other ones. Is finally the neighbor who decides to keep the accidental baby for one night stand. Right. So like this guy makes all his plans, the girlfriend believes his plans, or vice versa, and then they have a threesome with another girl. Right. And the next day, he goes again to have sex with the neighbor, and the condom breaks, and then because the girl decides to keep it, she's the strong character in the story.
Yeah, she is the stronger
But that
character.
doesn't mean she's better or worse than the other ones, but she has her own ideas, and she decides for the others.
She seems early in the story. She seems like she's going to be in the film more. She's going to be a bigger character, and then she almost disappears about 30 minutes in the movie.
Yeah.
Is there any actor out there right now you would just who's your number one you want to work with? You'd put him in your movie?
No, there are many.
There's a lot.
There are many, but
Can you give me a few? No, not interested.
because I don't want to say a name and then end up because I don't know what's my next project. If I knew, because sometimes also you cannot think of an actor before knowing what's the character in the movie. So once you know what's the character in the next movie, then you know who's the right person.
Do you read books, ever?
Yeah, I read mostly essays.
Essays?
Yeah.
Anything
And
good?
I'm reading a lot of biographies of directors.
Biographies of directors.
Yeah.
Is Kubrick your all-timer? That's your favorite?
No, I like Dreyer. It's a Danish director from the 30s, 40s.
Yeah.
I love Louis Buñuel. I love Pasolini. There are many directors that.
What do you think?
Life I'm very interested in.
What do you think about television? We're sort of in this like the golden age of television, premium TV, all that. Would you work on television?
I don't know. You know what? I don't watch television that much. And if someone proposed me a TV series, actually I've never seen a whole season of any of those. You know, I have all my friends. Never.
Any TV?
Yeah, when I was 15, 20. Mission Impossible.
Sure, right.
I don't know. Roots or QB set or things like that. But
yeah.
no, if I've never seen The Wire.
The new stuff. Yeah.
I've never. I saw the pilot for what's the name for Twin Peaks, but I've never seen the whole season.
What? It's so good. It's so good.
But you need to have a whole weekend to watch them all in a row.
I
But
know,
I always recommend that people tell me, "Oh, you should watch True Detective."
You gotta watch the first season.
And the Wire. That's it.
The True Detective season 1 and The Wire season 4 are my two favorite shows of all time. Those two seasons.
I met the other day the director of True Detective season 1.
Did you really, Gary?
Yeah,
was a good guy.
He was in Paris, and I really like his movie. He was showing Beast with No Nation.
Yeah. That's very cool. That's cool. Yeah, I got to work on another network that's related to Popcorn Talk called AfterBuzz TV, and we recapped the second season of True Detective, which was not as heralded as the first season. People didn't like it so much, but I still thought it was interesting.
If I went to a shop and I had to buy 2 TV series, maybe I'll buy The Wire number 4 and
True Detective season 1. It's worth it, man. It's really worth it. Are you a fan of Matthew McConaughey? Do you like him?
He's great in Scorsese's movie.
Oh, and yeah, Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, he's so good in that one.
That's a good movie. That's like a hedonistic, very graphic, like way over the top kind of thing. Yeah, interesting, different.
The great thing about The Wolf of Wall Street, Scorsese, he's over 70 years old, and he makes movies that look as if the director was 28, 30, but a genius.
Right.
They're so. At least that movie is so young.
It's a great
so
movie.
Powerful and so lively.
Ridley Scott is another one who does stuff same kind of thing. I just saw The Martian. Really liked The Martian. I thought that was great, and I think he's 70 years old as well.
But I like The Wolf of Wall Street much better. I love so much.
Yeah, that was a great movie. Do you have a favorite Scorsese movie?
The one that I've seen the most and the one I'm the most obsessed with is Taxi Driver, as many people.
Yeah, Taxi Driver.
Because maybe I saw it at an age that I said, wow, I like this guy. I wish I had his haircut. I wish I had his jacket.
Yeah.
I wish I could do what he does. And he was like a dream for me, as for many of my friends. And actually, I always wear the same jacket that he has.
Really? Are you a fashion guy? What's the word? Where'd you get this? Where's this from?
Just in New York, I bought it.
Yeah? Cool. How much longer are you in the States for before you go home?
6 more days.
6 more days?
Then I have to go to promote the movie in Germany.
Oh, man.
And then in England.
How many more people like me are you going to have to talk to about this movie in the next 6 days?
I don't know, a few every day.
Oh, man. Okay.
Sometimes it's a radio interview, sometimes it's paper, sometimes on net.
Sure. Well, you did great.
And then also I have to do all these Q&As. And during the Q&As, sometimes you get very weird questions. And usually it's one weirdo in the audience who comes with the strangest questions. I
should have prepared something really weird. I should have asked you something super strange. But I didn't, and you did great. So I think we're going to wrap it up here, my friend. But great, and lovely to talk to you, and I really like the movie, and congratulations. Have a great time tonight at the premiere.
Thank you.
I suppose that'll do it. And I guess that'll do it. If you guys want to find me, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Ben Bateman Media. And you mentioned you don't have social media. You just like it.
Never open a Facebook account, never open Instagram account, never open
It's a good way to be. It's a good way to be. It's as if you're an artist. I'm the guy who wants it, so I can
No,
promote
no,
your
no,
art.
no,
though.
no. But as I told you, people spend so much time there that I thought all the time I would spend doing that, I would not spend it reading or
Right.
writing or.
Totally. All right. Fantastic. Good luck, sir.
Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.